the address, the name of the company and the address and the reason that you're here. And then I'm going to ask for a representative from that organization to make themselves known. The first one, public hearings are open on alcohol beverage licenses. The first one is 941 Bullsboro La Hacienda. Someone here from that organization. Thank you for being here today. The next one is from Racetrack, 2573 to 2901 East, Noonan Crossing Boulevard East, personnel. Thank you for being here today. The next one is Red Lobster, personnel change, 990 Bullsboro. Thank you for being here today. The next one is Hooters of Noonan. This is 1001 Bullsboro, reason of personnel. Thank you for being here today. The next one is La Paria, Mexican, 222 Noonan Bypass, personnel. Thank you for being here today. And the next one is different. It's a location change. It's for Mama Lucia's restaurant. The new location is 80 Noonan Station Drive, Suites I through K. Thank you for being here today. Is there anyone here that would like to speak to the issue of the issuance of the application for any and all of these applicants? Seeing no one come forward, I'm going to close the public hearing at this time and ask if everything is in order. I would like a motion then on items F through K based on our agenda this evening to approve.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the application for alcohol beverage license on items F through K on the agenda for December the 13th, 2022. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you very much. We appreciate you being here this evening. The next is a consideration of a resolution for the 2023 Kent City Council meeting dates. I have a change, Mr. Phillips, on that. Somehow, inadvertently, the November dates, I believe, got put in as the first Tuesday and the and the third Tuesday, instead of the second Tuesday and the fourth Tuesday. So with a motion to amend the resolution before you to include the November dates as the second Tuesday and the fourth Tuesday.
14th and 28th.
It would be the 14th and 28th. If we have that motion, I'll entertain.
So moved.
Motion is second. We adopt the resolution as amended. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. The next item on the agenda is a consideration of amendment to the MEAG Solar Power Agreement. As you'll recall, earlier in the year, we approved the agreement itself. This is, and you've read your item in the agenda, I'm sure, but because of some changes in the industry, that we're coming to you tonight with an amendment to that agreement that changes the terms of pricing and also the duration. It is needed for each of the participants who are in this PPA to agree to the amendment so the amendment can so the project can actually move forward. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. We approve as presented. Any discussion? Questions? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you. The next is consideration to purchase a heavy-duty rescue unit and Steuben heavy-duty custom pumper truck using the HGAC, commonly known as the Houston-Galveston Area Council Co-op method. Chief.
Yes, sir.
Merry Christmas. How are you?
Merry Christmas to you. And I'm here today for consideration of a purchase of a heavy-duty aerial platform and a rescue unit for Station 2 using the HGAC, which we've used before. And do want to note that when we do order these, there's about a 2-year build time on these, so it'll be 2 years before they get here. If there's any questions?
How long do you think these pieces of equipment will last?
Usually on front line with aerials, you want to have about 12 years, 12 to 15 years, but we have some in the 20, 25
Yeah,
years.
okay. That was my question.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. We approve as presented. Any discussion? All those in in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item is a consideration of a guaranteed maximum price GMP contract amendment for the redevelopment of the fire training facility and the approval of an associated budget.
Mayor
Mr.
Brady,
Craver.
members of the council, as you may recall, in May of this year, we awarded a contract for a CM at risk or construction manager at risk to New South Construction. They, along with members of the City of Newnan staff, including our fire chief and some of his staff, have been working to this day. You may also recall that in October of this year, this council approved for kind of an advanced purchase of the burn building. We're here today to kind of finalize this process, get what we call a guaranteed maximum price, which is a term you are all very familiar with, and allow the contractor, again, in this case, New South Construction, to proceed with those activities that include the demolition of existing facilities and construction of new facilities. I can answer any questions you may have here. However, we're looking for approval of the 3.299 and change, which will finalize the guaranteed maximum price, or as we call it, GMP, as well as approval of the revised associated budget. Both are included in your packet on page 106.
For a total of $5 million.
Yes, sir.
Any questions? Great job on this, appreciate it. Anyone? Comment?
Nope.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second, we approve as presented, and approve the associated budget with the project. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you. The next is is a consideration of award for the Link I-85 pedestrian bridge slope repair.
Yes, Mayor
Mr.
Brady,
Craven?
members of the council, I'm here. As a result of the construction of the Link I-85 bridge, upon construction, the city of Newnan assumed responsibility for routine inspection of that bridge. We hired Heath and Lineback, an engineering firm based out of Atlanta with offices all around. We're familiar with the firm. They came out, they did the inspection. They found a couple minor issues with it, but while also on inspecting, they found some erosion problems under bent one, or a piece of structural base holding up the bridge, if you will, on the western side of I-85. Immediately thereafter, members of the staff engaged Llewellyn Construction, who was the original contractor, to come in and put temporary measures to prevent any more erosion to occur. Thereafter, we hired and brought on a team of folks to redesign what you see here in your packet as a slope repair, which will present a permanent resolution to the erosion that's occurring at this site, and at that point allow this bridge to live hopefully in perpetuity to welcome runners, joggers, and walkers across I-85. And bikes, as Mr. Phillips is correct, cyclists are allowed to use the link as well. Earlier in November of this year, we solicited for an invitation to bid, received proposals from 3 firms. All 3 firms are known to us, qualified to work in GDOT right-of-way. The low bidder and qualified bidder is Llewellyn Construction. The total of $67,900 was a lump sum. Funding for this is SPLOST 2019. The current sections of Link are actually coming under budget, so there's outstanding funds we can utilize for this. In your packet is the Heath and Lineback Bridge Inspection Report, as well as the bid tab, and I can answer any questions you may have.
Any questions of Mr. Craven?
I move the adoption.
Second.
Motion is second, we approve as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Craver. The next is a facilities lease agreement between the City of Newnan and the African American Alliance, Inc. You're still up.
I am, yes, sir. Mayor Brady, members of the council, I have here a lease agreement beginning on page 137 in your packet that creates an opportunity for the African American Alliance, Inc. to re-enter the Shotgun House, and I'm using air quotes on purpose, but we commonly refer to the property located at 92 Farmer Street. This body has talked about this in the past. We've met with the city attorney, we've met, and he's had a chance to review the lease. We've met with members of the Alliance. They're here in the audience. On page 136 of your agenda item, it lists, as we commonly do, those items that may be of particular interest. I will note this lease is not really that too different from anybody else that we deal with, whether it be the Boys and Girls Club or the YMCA or the Historical Society or Children's Connect. very similar, but there's one empty spot, the term, the first initial term. We want some guidance from this body here. We typically do a 1 year and then we move on for subsequent, kind of automatic renewals, but we haven't put that in here. And I think the members of the Alliance may want to speak to this group about that.
Okay. A couple of things that are in here that I think might be a little different from all those others is that city occupied building by a nonprofit, say the Male Academy Museum, the Children's Museum, this lease calls for the tenant to be responsible for utilities.
Yes, sir.
Not all the utilities. Those utilities received from our Noonan Utilities. And in other buildings like that, they are not responsible for.
Well, they're responsible, but they don't receive a bill. The city receives that bill. They won't receive a bill for Noonan utility services, water, sewer, electricity.
And as long as we're bringing that up this evening and someone on staff is saying that out loud and it's in the minutes,
Yes,
we
sir.
won't
Similar
have a
to the
problem
other
with it being in the lease if it's like that in the other,
Yes,
the
sir,
other
it
lease,
is.
the other leases.
Yeah.
So are there any other questions from council regarding
I do.
the lease? Okay.
I have been in communication with the African American Alliance, and I know that they were requesting a 2-year first, lease in order to be able to get themselves back established, and that the 7 days cure may not be enough time. And I'd like for them to come up and talk about that a little bit. Because I did not get a chance to call, as I said I would.
No problem.
If you'll introduce yourself for the record, please.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Shannon Pearson, and I am the sitting president of the African American Alliance at this time.
Welcome.
And thank you. The reason why we ask for more time for the 7-day to cure to be increased to 30 days, there's been, even in this process, when we were trying to get information from the IRS to show our status as a 501c3, it took us well over 10 days to get that information. So we're not saying that there are instances where we're not going to be able to correct things in a timely manner, but we have seen instances where it will take longer to 7, with people being on vacation or not getting the communication in time enough to act on. So we're just asking for that increase for 30 days instead of 7.
And a 2-year lease.
And yes, and the purpose of the 2-year lease is we're already approaching the first of the year. The programs that we have outlined in planning right now won't begin until June because we needed ample time to know where we were going to have this, whether we would have the museum building to actually host events. So we wanted to have the proper time to put everything in place, and not being unsure of the lease at that time made us push back our start date of a lot of the events. So we would only have 6 months if we're only granted a 1 year to plan out events for the year. And we really would like to get back into the community to offer our services.
Council have any issues with those 2 requests?
I
Mr. Alexander, you have a comment?
don't.
I think we ought to go with the 2-year lease, and from 7 days to 30. I did talk with Dr. Pearson and some of the members, and I think they have shown good faith in what they have done, and a lot of hard work, and I appreciate what the organization is doing. And so thank you. I think we need to change it to a 2-year lease and the 7 days to 30 days.
I guess, can I ask a question? Is 30 days enough for you? Do you find instances that you may need more than 30 days? And if they do need more than 30 days, what would be the process for them to come back?
Well, this is only a cure period. If they were in default for some reason in the lease, that they would have 30 days to cure that default. And that's a generous,
That's a generous timeframe? Okay.
typically in a lease.
All right, very good. Then that answers my question.
And then I have one more question. I know at one point we talked about repairs needing to be made to the facility. Have we had anybody, go in and see what those repairs need to be, and have we done them?
Yeah, Councilwoman Jenkins, we do that. We go out there routinely. Even without a tenant, we're out there making repairs. The lease, exterior repairs. And then we manage all the mechanical, electrical, plumbing systems, the major systems, outside of that, typically, we may go in the beginning, now that we're restarting the lease period, and paint just one coat, but we typically, we're not going to do above that, building of shelves for exhibits and such, that's not what
Well,
we did.
that's,
But all those major systems, yes, ma'am.
okay.
Yep.
It's just like any other lease in the private
Correct.
sector.
Yep.
We bring the building up to speed.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay.
I have
Yes.
one-
Mr. Alexander?
One more question. I know in the past, there was a question of who had the keys and have the locks been changed so that we know exactly?
Yeah, the lease stipulates that we will have a set of keys. We can
Thank you.
we'll start new.
Thank you.
Had something else, though. She did.
Anything else, Ms. Pierce? Dr. Pierce?
The only other thing about the building repairs as well is we did bring up safety of the building in the aspect of one of the rooms, when you walk in the room, we have a display case, that's a big glass one. When you step on the floor, it shakes. So that tells us that that room is unstable in some way, and we want to ensure that that is handled before we open it back up to the public to come in as
We'll
well.
certainly look at it, but I know that our team did make some structural repairs and some exterior work within the last, I think, 30, 45 days. I don't know when the last time you've been in the building.
Okay, yeah, we don't have a key, so we
So
can't get in.
we made work, we repainted the outside of the building. We did not do any interior work because, to be honest, we wanted to get their input.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So that's
And
why we held off on that, so.
All right.
Dr.
No,
Pearson,
that's-
Hopefully it's corrected, but we can certainly.
Okay.
Dr. Pearson, as with any new lease between a landlord and a tenant, there'll be a walkthrough in the
Okay.
beginning to make sure everything is like it needs to be, and that the landlord will take care of those issues that they need to take care of.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or anything? We've got two amendments to the lease, or actually one that was a fill in the blank and then an amendment. So are somebody going to make a motion to?
I'll make a motion with those two amendments, 2-year lease and a queue from 7 to 30.
30-day,
Second.
okay, the 7 to 30 is a 30-day
Yes, sir.
time to cure.
Yes, sir.
Right. Any other questions, comments? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you for being here this evening. The next item is the negotiation of contract scope and pricing for Wadsworth Auditorium parking lot improvements.
Yeah. Mayor Brady, members of the council, beginning in summer of 2020, city staff started to look at improvements, much needed, to the parking lot adjacent to the Wadsworth Auditorium, in hopes of finding what will become kind of an improvement that helps the functionality, but also may give back to the public and supporting the Wadsworth, as we brought on Ms. Mosley and enhanced the leisure services staff. You'll hear more about kind of how that department's grown later in the meeting. However, as we continued through that process, in February of 2021, we started and received a conceptual design from Ironwood, a group that we've worked with in the past. They've done the 2 parks below us and some other work in town. Excuse me. And in January, February of this year, we actually engaged a group to go and look at the home, formerly at the corner of Lee Street, as you recall, and Perry, in deciding that we were going to improve this parking lot. We looked at that home, we did some asbestos testing, we found some asbestos-containing material, removed that from there, demolished the home. This body reviewed that, approved the demolition of that, after a public hearing again in February of this year. And then in May of this year, the city council approved a contract again with Ironwood Design to develop construction documents for phase 1. That'll be the improvement of the parking lot. It's included on page, that got real small, 143 in your packet. In November of this year, the city released a request for proposals to make improvements. We only received one proposal. And that proposal and the firm is included in your packet. It was for $1.9 million and change from the Georgia Development Partners. Frankly speaking, that's a little bit more, a lot more, than we had anticipated. So I'm actually standing here before you asking for permission to allow city staff to negotiate with the bidder to see if we can get to a number that's, I think, much more palatable. I think that we can then come back to this group. And then in addition, we have budgeted in this current year's budget $300,000 for funding towards this project. And so we'd like to have this body consider encumbering those funds so we can keep those funds dedicated to this project in next year's budget.
Okay, is there a motion to allow staff to negotiate with GDP on the contract for the Wadsworth?
So moved.
So moved.
Second. Second, any discussion? Everybody know what we're doing here?
Yep.
I'll call the question. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. You anticipate that coming back to us in,
Yes, sir. We would bring it back. to you.
January.
Yes, sir.
all right?
Do you need a motion for 300,000 at this point? Does that cover that?
Yes, there's a separate motion for
I'll
that.
make a motion to cover the 300,000 to continue with this project.
Right.
Second.
Motion to second, we encumbered the 300,000 to begin the project. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you. The next item on the agenda, the roadway improvement program for 2023-2025. Mr. Phillips.
Absolutely, Mr. Mayor and Council. This is a follow-up from our retreat where we had a good lengthy beneficial discussion regarding our long-term road maintenance, road paving plan. Mr. Craver, Mr. Carr, and Mr. Norton have been working diligently to prepare what is a three-year plan, again, somewhat consistent with the three-year plan that I presented for a budget forecast. So today, we're going to try to get your input, hopefully some approval of the three-year plan, but at minimum, I think what we would like to walk away with today is at least approval of a smaller set of roads for our LMIG application. The LMIG application funding deadline is January?
We have to apply by February 1.
February 1. So at least today, even if there's further input or you desire further discussion on the three-year plan, I'd like to at least get consensus on the LMIG, which is a much smaller portion of this overall $11.5 million plan. So at this point, I'll turn it over to Mr. Clark and Mr. Craver for the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips. Before we get technical, I'm going to keep you at a higher level. On page 145 of your packet, what we've designed with Mr. Phillips' leadership is a total three-year program that totals $11.5 million. What we'd like to do with this group's permission is in year one, spend $5.5 million, broken down accordingly. $3.25 million of general fund balance, which was already committed by this body at the November 8th meeting. An additional $1.8 million in SPLOST 2019 funds that currently exist, and then using the $437,000, as Mr. Phillips talked about, through the LMIG program for that year one. Year two, we anticipate $2.5 million in funds, again, for utilizing SPLOST 2019 funds and LMIG. At this point, we're not familiar, I can't tell you exactly what that LMIG number is going to be. And then in year three, as you see on page 145 of your packet, there's some assumptions in here, some italicized words. $3.5 million total for year three, but that assumes the availability of future SPLOST and LMIG funds. As you know, we will be out of SPLOST 2019 collections at that point. In addition to what you're going to hear from Mr. Clark related to the streets, roadways, and where they locate throughout the community, I want this body to also understand that there are members of staff looking at the potential engagement of a firm to come in and assist with further assessing some of our roadways. To be more specific, taking core samples of some of our roads. As Mr. Clark will talk to here in a second, there's a different treatment or improvement treatment for different roadways. You've heard the terms full depth reclamation in the past. There are other ways in which to improve roadways, but we feel that it's a diligent use of our dollars, taxpayer dollars, to go out and receive further testing in hopes that we may be able to stretch those dollars. That there may not be a need for, let's say, a full depth reclamation improvement type on a roadway that could be improved with maybe a different type of improvement. So that may occur, but with the sole intention of stretching our dollars over this 3-year period. So at this point, I'm going to sit down and let Mr. Clark walk you through what he's put together.
Mr. Clark?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Do you have the visuals that, the two PDFs would, and I can describe how we arrived at the two PDFs. Back at around 2019, we engaged a firm, IMS, to go out and do a analysis of all of the street segments in the city of Newnan. And when I say street segments, it's not just a whole street, it's block by block. And they use a laser and camera array method, which takes the objectivity out of the assessment and they can perform structural analysis and put together a pretty intense set of data on a spreadsheet, which I haven't given you because it's one of those spreadsheets that goes way out to the right. So you know, you have to,
And you knew it would be wasted upon us.
well, you might like to look at it someday when you don't have anything else to do. But what we get is a map here, and this is a PDF snapshot of where we are today. That's not where we were in 2019, and it is color-coded, and you've got a key up there that tells you we go from, the first set is very poor to poor, marginal, fair, good, very good, and excellent. And it's my understanding that the council was interested in targeting streets that were below the 60 on a scale of 1 to 100 for the payment condition index. A 51 to a 60 is considered fair. So we took the existing map that we've got, and I've got the data I've got is interactive. I can actually put it up, it's live, and I can manipulate things. And we put in the number 59, and that will take away all the streets that are 60 and above, and we can concentrate on the streets that are 59 and below. And we take that and then we take those streets and we start to look at which ones may have a higher functional classification. The roads that are used more, your Jefferson Street, Boone Drive, Noonan Crossing Boulevard East. They have a higher AADT on them, and more of the public's using them and wearing them out faster, quite frankly. Then we try to take a look at clusters. It might be a little area of town where the streets are closer together and they may rate the same or poor, and that is for mobilization purposes. You don't want you don't want to pay your contractor to drag his equipment all over town, skipping around. So we try to cluster them together for economies. Then we take a look at the recommendations they gave, and they give us the maintenance needs for the individual segments. So we start looking at, like Mr. Craver said, do we have a full base failure, or do we just have surface ruts, or do we have map cracking? What is the problem with the road? So we try to cluster those together as well. Then with the dollar amounts that we've got, that's the part where you start manipulating, because we do a planning level cost estimate based on the recommendation for what each road would cost to repair. And then we've got to match those. We've got to add those all up and try to meet the annual allotment that we're given to use that year. And these are planning level numbers that I've put on this map. We have not taken any quantity takeoffs to the detail that we would need to put them out to bid. So I hope we're good on that. Mr. Phillips and Mr. Craver mentioned that our LMIG is due, so there's a subset in there, and there's a toggle back and forth. That one, well, that's not the toggle. Do you have the list? You all have the listing of the streets,
Yes.
and in mine they're green. Is there green on yours?
They are,
Okay.
yeah.
We have
You have this chart.
you got the green. Do y'all have the years showing on the farthest right corner?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, okay. So what we do, the LMIG amount this year was $437,000, and the state is still punishing us for not passing T-SPLOST. So our match is 30% versus 10. So that gave you a total at the bottom, and I picked LMIG qualified streets that would equal that total, and those are the green streets right there, and they're the ones that I would like to start entering in and submit if you all would approve those tonight, if you could do that.
Okay.
I just will say a little bit of an overview. When we first did our pavement assessment, we had an overall rating of 66. We are now up to 71. If we implement this program as shown, we will go from 71 to 73 to 75, and 70 is pretty envious. So this is a very good program that you all have allowed us to manipulate here, so we appreciate that.
Any questions?
I do.
Okay.
Are any of these streets that we're looking at, were they damaged in any way by the tornado? That would be reimbursable by whatever
We can report on that,
Yeah.
Mr. Gregory.
That's a good question. No, not at this point. All the roadways that have been damaged by the tornado, have been submitted and have been part of that FEMA program.
And denied at this
And-
point.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a good point, yeah.
Well,
That's important to remember.
It is.
There could be, some of these streets could have been damaged, but they're not reimbursable, so it's just,
Before we go any further on questions, let me go ahead and get a motion on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 streets that are highlighted in green on your chart for submittal as the MEAG approved, I mean, not MEAG.
LMIG.
LMIG.
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion and a second.
Second.
Any discussion there? Everybody know how we're taking these out, what we're doing? All right, I'm gonna call the question. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, any other questions on the program itself?
I do.
All right,
For West Washington, you have that year 2023,
yes, sir.
and then Salbeatty, same thing, 2023.
Yes, sir.
Does that mean that they're going to get their base rehab or their mill and thick overlay in the year 2023?
That's the way it's set up, yes, sir.
Base rehab, can you refresh me on what base rehab is?
Pavement section is made up of the subgrade, which is the dirt that's compacted, and then you put a GAB on top, graded aggregate base. Then you put a binder, and you put a topping. That's a typical road. I mean, there's some that have a lot more than that going on. Your bigger roads like Noonan Crossing. Base failure means that the structural support of that road is basically gone.
Right.
So you have two options. One is you can come in and you can rebuild that road, which is take everything out and bring it all back in like a new road. Or we have the option of a full depth reclamation, which utilizes the materials already there in place, adds Portland cement, creates a new base, and then you overlay that.
Okay.
So, but base failure means that the road is gone. And, you know, if you've got 10, 15, 20% base failure on that road, you kind of consider that whole road.
Okay. I want to thank you for putting West Washington and Salbeatty. Those are two that are dearly needed, especially West Washington with
Yes,
a 24 rating.
Right.
So thank you.
It's got a 24 rating, and normally that would have taken up our entire LMIG
I
budget,
understand.
and so it kind of got,
I understand.
yeah, for an annual basis,
Yeah.
so.
Thank you.
any other questions on the program or individual streets? Any other comments? All right, I've got the motion already and the second. We voted on the LMIG. Let's go ahead with the motion on the program, approving the program.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second, we approve the program, what we're calling the roadway improvement program, 2023-2025. In today's agenda, Mr. Phillips.
And just to clarify, I think what we would do, we'll take the 2023 plans, we'll put them in our invitation to bid. We'll bid it together, but there'll be noted different funding sources.
I think that we'll get better prices if we put out a bigger project at one time, so that's what I'd like to do.
But then what we're gonna do in 2023, we're gonna come back to you with another 3-year plan, adding a new set of streets on. But what we will also do is we'll go into further detail on the list of 2024 streets, because they could change in a year. There could be something that comes up of greater importance. So we'll re-review the list and continue to add a 3-year list, and we'll make this an annual process.
Okay, so what we have though before us tonight is a motion and a second to approve the program as presented. That's what everybody understands,
Yes.
okay? Any other questions, comments?
So we're gonna try to get one contractor to give a price for a year's worth of paving or at a
Yes,
time?
sir. By the date that I put on there, that's the way I intended to set it up.
Okay.
And then the idea would be able to go out into the fall of next year for the bid on the 2024 project?
Yes, sir. We'll be a little bit ahead of schedule
Sure.
by doing it this way.
Okay, I'm gonna call the question. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you. We appreciate a lot of hard work, and we appreciate it very much. Consideration for fee schedule and ordinance amendment to Chapter 17, solid waste, the Code of Ordinances, City of Noonan. Mr. Norton, how are you, sir?
Doing good, Mr. Mayor, council. Hope y'all are doing well. If you'll remember, back in February of this year, we held a session with Miss Abby Goldsmith, and we brought up some issues, the sanitation ordinance had, asked some questions. We took that feedback from this body and put together the ordinance that's in front of you now that we believe addresses all of those. And just to give you a couple highlights, we are now billing the property owners for the residential sanitation service. In this ordinance in front of you, cardboard is not considered a bulk item, so you won't see tons of boxes out in people's yards. It should be put into a trash container. We set a limit for 2 cubic yards for bulk items, and that would be the couch, the love seat, or the washing machines, that type of stuff that gets set out. 8 cubic yards for yard waste. And then on yard waste, we also set a size limit as nothing can be longer than 6 foot, so it will fit on our truck properly, and nothing larger than 8 inches in diameter. And what that does, it keeps the big, heavy logs off of municipal loader trucks. They're not designed for that kind of heavy use. And then also in the ordinance, there's a provision to lien the property owner if they did not, abide by that ordinance, and the city had to service property. And along with that, there's also a fee schedule in there for that charge if they were over the size limit, and they did not rectify the situation themselves. I'm open for any questions, discussions.
Anyone? Mr. Alexander?
Yes, sir. On the 2 cubic yards for bulk and the 8 cubic yards for yard waste, is that a weekly or a?
That is weekly, sir.
Okay.
There's a accidental thing that has happened in my area, and that's a log is falling off of a large truck, and I don't know if your truck can pick that up or not. It's probably 36 inches in diameter and maybe 4 feet long or so, but it's been sitting on the sidewalk for about a month now in front of the convenience store on Jackson Street and north of the bypass.
If it's something that fell off a truck, our street department, we'll get that. That's nothing to do with this ordinance. Now,
Okay.
if someone set that log out, that's a different story.
No,
But if it's,
you can easily see it's rolled off.
absolutely, we can, that's totally different.
Okay.
Anything else on this?
Just something, and I know, I think we've all gotten a lot of emails and stuff regarding the ordinance and the billing going up. Have you been able to look at anything regarding senior citizens and stuff like that? I don't mean to open a can of worms, but I know that's been probably the primary concern I've received is folks that generate very little trash being billed the full amount. And just so we could address that.
We have, as you may recall, when we asked for the bidders to reconfirm or reaffirm, I guess the right term, we actually asked for each one of them to provide an opportunity for that. That was not provided with the firm that was selected. However, there are opportunities for folks that meet certain requirements to have backdoor service at no additional fee. Today, what Mr.
There's a discount.
$1.50,
Yeah.
At what age?
65,
65 and better. There's a $1 discount per month.
Yes, per month.
It's $1.50.
Maybe I should pay closer attention. That's I'm
It's all
trying
right.
my
It
best,
was
man.
kind of an off-the-cuff
That's all
question,
right.
so.
That's right. And it's, that's not something we would list in the ordinance.
Yeah.
This ordinance isn't going to govern that program, so.
I'd like to follow up on that, because we have had a lot of discussions, and we understand the conversations have been very difficult around that subject matter. We've had those conversations as well. And I've talked with members of this body that have told them, I said, if this body were to desire to have a larger discount, if it's for a senior citizen, it would be something that this body would have to absorb the price. Contractually, we already got the fee established with Amway, so it'd be something that if you so decided, you'd have to actually absorb that cost and supplement it with something probably in the general fund.
Okay, thank you.
And billing begins?
Actually, the bills are in the mail now. So you may have it waiting on you this evening when you get home.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
And have we made some adjustments on those bills for people who have already paid out through months that end, like I've had people say, I've paid through January already to GFL. And so I've had some questions about that.
Now, we have contacted GFL and advised them, you know, those accounts to make sure that they're flagged and they're not charged. And I've been told that they have done it. The ones that's been brought to our attention, we actually called GFL and got it resolved. So I would, if there's anybody that has been charged for January, they need to contact the city billing department, and we'll chase that down for them, but
Okay, I think we need to say that in
absolutely.
some public way, because those have
Absolutely.
been some calls that I've gotten about it.
All right, any other questions on the ordinance before us? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second,
That's one
we,
in the audience waving their hand.
I'm sorry.
Ooh, I guess you gotta come.
I'm sorry, you'll need to go, you'll need to
Yes.
come forward. And identify yourself for the record, please.
My name is Sylvia Hayes. I just had a question about, as far as senior citizen, and their pricing, because I'm about to be one of those, and got parents that are one of those, and they have to count their pennies. What would they need to do? We need to get a group of people and have them petition to have the price cheaper, because $1 it don't go nowhere no more. That's 20 cents in 5 years ago. You said they were giving $1 discount to the seniors?
Well, I don't mean to be trite here, it's $1.50, but that doesn't make any difference, I know.
Yeah, you know what I'm
It
saying.
doesn't. I'm not saying that like it is, it's not. So, as Mr. Phillips said earlier, if this body decided we wanted a deeper senior discount than $1.50, then he would need to know where that money was gonna come from, because our contract with Amwaste is established.
Okay.
So the bill that's going out is set. So it would be something that if we wanted to discuss that and come up with a different number, that would be on a future agenda item, and we would have to have a recommendation from Mr. Phillips on where that money is gonna come from out of the general fund. Earlier tonight, before this meeting began, we had a public hearing on our 2023 budget, and there was no one here that spoke to that issue, but it would be an impact on the 2023 budget. So we understand what you're saying. Let Mr. Phillips have conversation with the council members during the next couple of weeks and see if we want to put that item on the agenda for next month.
So I'm saying we can't petition to you all. That's my question. Do a couple of the seniors petition you all, so you all can then decide? Or are you going to?
Absolutely.
We clearly hear your petition at this moment.
Okay.
I mean,
So it doesn't need that part?
right.
All right,
Now,
thank you.
you have done the job of many
Thank you.
by being here. Thank you. We appreciate that.
So, Mr. Mayor, I do have a follow-up question in regards to that. If somebody is 65 and older, how do they let the building department know to get that bill, that $1.50 off?
There's forms on the city's website, and they could fill that out, but it's as simple as you can call and send in a copy of your license to prove that you're of that age, and it automatically goes on. That's,
Do we have any print versions here for those who are not computer savvy?
we can make it happen, but there's not right now.
Mr. Mayor.
Ma'am, you'll need to come.
I'm sorry, I didn't get it. I just talk so loud, I didn't get it.
And if you'll identify yourself for the record, please.
I'm Tina Melson, and I just want to say that as of yesterday, the website is not up and running for you to go in to do anything. Like, yeah.
Are you having difficulty accessing it?
No, I went on it. I actually went on it, and then what I did, because I'm so smart, I went to the office down here at the auditorium, and she went in and did everything that I needed to get done. But last night, it wouldn't let you go on it and do anything.
Ms. Nelson, we appreciate bringing that to our attention. Thank you very much. We'll resolve whatever issue we have there. Mr. Alexander?
I do want to say for the group, also, if citizens are handicapped, they can get backyard service for free of charge. There's no extra charge.
No extra charge.
No extra charge.
They get backyard at the
Yeah.
front yard price.
Yes.
Right.
So pass that to the citizens if you're handicapped, and you can go to the billing office and show your letter from your doctor, so,
I think you take the form and get the doctor to sign off.
yes,
And it's even as simple, if you already got the handicap placard for your vehicle or something,
right,
we'll take that number right there.
yes.
Absolutely.
Okay,
So
we had yes, ma'am.
Hello. My name is Pamela Hunter Power, and I just wanted to know, okay, the company that we did have, every cycle, it seemed like our bill was going up every cycle. So with this new company that we getting, what is gonna be our start off like cycle? And then how often are we gonna have to pay a different amount? Not every cycle, right?
Well, contractually, and this is common in the sanitation contracts, there is a CPI inflation index number that is tied to these particular contracts. So in the contract every year, there's a consumer price index that's related to sanitation, and they get that price increase up to a maximum of 3%. So there is a potential for a 3% increase each year. There's also a provision in the contract for them, if diesel fuel goes over $6 a gallon, that there's a fuel surcharge. Now, it's relatively pretty small, it's bracketed. But so there are some inflationary things that's built into their contract, which was built into GFL's contract as well. It's standard sanitation contractual language. So 3% roughly is the maximum.
Right, thank you. Mr. Alexander?
If diesel fuel goes down, do they have a benchmark or where it goes down?
It'd be nice,
No. Okay, we were about to have a motion on the issue, and we had a couple of comments from the audience, which were well-founded. We appreciate those, but, so I do not have a motion yet on this issue.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so now I have a motion and a second on the issue. Discussion among the council. Any other questions or comments? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda today is consideration of a policy change for allowing food beverages at Wadsworth. Hello, Ms. Mosey.
Hello, how are
How
you?
are you?
Doing well.
Good.
Okay, so at the October 25th meeting, we came to you all and asked for a consideration for a policy change for the to allow food and beverage at the Wadsworth Auditorium. Councilman Carrico asked for a comparison to a couple of other venues like the Wadsworth Auditorium, and these are the ones that were built in the same time period and have relatively the same amount of seats and similar policies to what we're asking for today. So these are the ones that I spoke to personally about what their policies were. You can see those. We don't have to go through those. As a general rule, they all allow food and beverage and alcohol. Some just beer and wine, but some also have liquor sales as well. Most of them hold their own liquor license, so they did not have catering service do it for them, except for the Strand and Marietta. They operate most like we do at the Wadsworth. And they have a Friends group, which is a board that holds their liquor license, but for their food and beverage, other food and beverage, they have a caterer. They have a approved caterer that does their concessions. So those are the ones that we looked at. You can move to the next one, Megan. Thank you. So the couple of things that we're asking for today is the proposed fee schedule change. Should we allow food and beverage in the auditorium? The chart on the bottom is what we currently charge. There are a couple of different daily rate charges for in-county, out-of-county, and not-for-profit. So the additional daily fee is just in addition to what we already charge, so you can see that. The main changes also include the cleaning fee. As you can imagine, when we begin offering food and beverage, that is going to increase our cleaning fee that we absorb, and because we are going to have a more extensive cleaning than we have now with just bodies in the seats in the auditorium. So that's where we're asking for that proposed fee schedule change. You can see in your packet what we have proposed for the policy change is that we would allow, you can go to the next one, Megan, thanks. This is what we are asking for to be allowed in the auditorium. We would like to put out an RFQ for an approved caterer who holds a alcohol license to be our sole provider of the concessions in the auditorium. There would be an offering of a 3-level offering, an open bar with a running tab. That would be food, beverage, to include soda, water, beer, and wine. That would be at the expense of the renter. So the renter would work with the caterer to determine their amount of attendees, tickets sold, that kind of thing, to determine what that would look like. But that tab would be paid by them at the end of the night. Cash bar attendees to the event would pay the cash price for the food and beverage, and then hosted with a ticket. That is, if you buy a ticket to an event, there's going to be a price for just a ticket and a price for 2 drinks and a prepackaged concession, or whatever that looks like for the renter. And that would be talked to the caterer about what that would look like for them. And those are the items that we're proposing to offer. No cooked food, no hot dogs, pretzels, hamburgers, things like that, because that's a whole nother level. We don't have a kitchen, we don't have a refrigerator, we don't have a warmer of any kind, so that would be very difficult for us, I think, to find a caterer that would be able to do this weekend after weekend at events for that. So our prepackaged concessions are what we are proposing, along with soda, bottled water, and beer and wine. In the RFQ, we would ask for the proposer to obviously have a business and alcohol license, tell us what their minimum event revenue would be, what their bartender hourly rate is, the number of bartenders that they require for the number of participants. So if there's going to be a 400-person event, how many bartenders need to be present to be able to hold that amount of attendees. The different prices for our different levels, so what the beer and wine price would be, as well as just the food and beverage alone for the cash bar, the open bar, and then what the individual prices would be if it's going to be hosted with a ticket. Based on that, we are asking that we choose one caterer. The reason behind that is because we're learning to crawl with this. We've not had offerings like this in the past, so we think with starting with one and making that manageable at this moment is going to be better than providing a list to the renters. One, because our space is limited. So if they do want storage space within the auditorium, we don't have multiple spaces to offer multiple caterers to be able to hold what they pre-purchase for our events if they're going to stash trail mix or candy bars or sodas or bottles of water in a closet. We don't have multiple spaces for multiple caterers. So that's what we're asking for you all to consider in this policy change.
Any questions of Ms. Moses?
I do, yes.
Okay.
Just to refresh my memory, I believe I asked you last time, Katie, the thing that was concerning is the number of people who are choosing other venues because we don't offer this, in which I'm all in for, 100% supporting what you've put together here. But for our reference point, how much percentage-wise you feel we've lost or could possibly lose if we should not approve this, for example? And then I have a follow-up with that as well.
I think we've lost probably anywhere from 20 to 30% of our potential renters by saying, no, I'm sorry, we don't allow food and beverage. I think we have a potential to lose up to 50 as we continue to grow. The Wadsworth Auditorium is on the map. People know that we exist. We are extremely affordable compared to relative venues. So I think we have a potential to lose more without offering food and beverage.
Thank you. I was speaking with staff today, and one of the things that I brought up was, since we're going to go with the food and beverage, but I'm assuming we will, and that being said, and going with one caterer as being recommended, we brought up the idea of a possible having a fee that would generate on top of that in a form of a percentage back to the city, back to the Wadsworth. Would that be something that we could entertain? I think would be a plus. If we're going to have one caterer, okay, then you're going to, pay us a fee of your concessions so that we can start to build up a fund that would, be more beneficial for ongoing projects in the future. Would that be kind of a good idea, you think?
I think it's a great idea. Mr. Craver and I actually spoke about that today. And the Macon Auditorium, which is one that I spoke to and got information from about their policy, they have a 10% paid to the venue fee for every outside vendor that comes into there. Now, their space is a little bit different. They are built to hold this kind of concession. They have a kitchen. They have a much bigger space. Now, they do have a lower level that I compared to ours, which was 675 seats. But they are larger. But they do have a 10% for any outside vendor that comes in to sell concessions.
Yeah,
It's very similar.
Up to you guys to adjust, I guess, to find out what would be a fair
Right.
market percentage, right?
Yep. Yeah, we could certainly do that.
I have a couple of questions if you're done.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm finished.
okay. I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
I noticed on here that you all are, or at least I think you are, continuing to keep the variation between nonprofits and for-profits in county and out of county by simply just adding to the base. Is that how this is interpreted?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Megan, you go back one.
So the plus 250 is just added to whatever the daily rental fee is based on that category?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
The lowest daily rate right now is an in-county nonprofit rate. So that would be, what they would add to that to have, the most they would add to that is 250.
Right.
And that's food, beverage, and alcohol. So we did those three levels simply because not every renter that we have right now is going to want alcohol. Most of them are going to want food and beverage, but not all of them are going to want the sale of beer and wine. So we had that middle level to help accommodate that.
And I appreciate that because I think you will have some that do that, especially those that have recitals and things like that.
Exactly.
And then the other question I have is, are you looking at the space off to, when you come in the building to the left, where those windows are? Is that where you're looking at? 'Cause
So that is where the West Georgia's Art Gallery, the vault, that they have leased that space and have turned that into an art gallery. That is a student art guild.
Okay.
The spaces that we are looking at for storage would include that office space right there next to that, and the closet that's adjacent to that office. That used to be an old police evidence office, so there's some shelving in there that can come out that would make a decent closet space. It has a lock, and so we could have dry storage in there.
Any other questions?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Alexander?
With the sale of alcohol toward different in restaurants and others, they have a training program where they can't sell to minors, or are we going to ensure that, I trust we're going to ensure that this caterer will abide by those regulations? Okay.
Absolutely.
The cleaning fee, I noticed, $150, is that automatic, or is it, you go in and say, it looks clean, they don't need to pay the $150?
That's automatic. That is,
Automatic,
that's,
okay.
yeah, the 150 right now currently, if you rent the auditorium, you're paying
Right.
the deposit, which is refundable.
Okay.
So as long as there are no damages and everything, they follow their checklist, they get that back.
Right.
There's the daily rental fee and then the cleaning fee. And the cleaning fee we have, our KBS services comes in after every event and mops the floor, vacuums the floor, vacuums the carpet, cleans the restroom, that kind of thing.
And one last question, Ms. Mosley. These seats that we have, the seat covers, are special ones. I had asked previously, are those still available? Do we know if those are still available? Were they a special order? Because, in my opinion, I think probably there's a good chance that some of those seats might get damaged, and we wouldn't want a mixed match of seats in that beautiful auditorium.
Sure. I can ask our facilities director, Mark Johnson, to check into that. I know that that has been done in the past. But we did check with our cleaning service to make sure that they could be cleaned properly, and they can.
Okay,
They can be
good.
cleaned without being damaged.
Okay, thank you.
I just have one question, clarification,
Sure.
Mr. Jenkins. So we're doing away with the in and out of county nonprofit, for-profit?
No.
It's both of those plus the proposed fee schedule on top of that?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
Any other questions?
Good
Mr.
job.
Mayor, I'm ready to make a motion.
Please do.
I move we adopt this schedule.
Second?
Okay, motion is second. We adopt the policy change for allowing food beverages at Wadsworth. Any other discussion or questions? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you, Ms. Mosley.
Thank you very
Appreciate that
much.
very much. The next item on the agenda is a rezoning request. This is for information only, but I'm going to read the request for RZ 2022-14 by George Rosenzweig on behalf of Pope and Land Enterprises, Inc. for 42.20 acres located on Poplar Road, tax parcels 08720050001, 08720050002, and 08720050003, changing conditions of the mixed-use development and amendment to the master plan to accommodate 350 multifamily units, 155 active senior adult units, 101 townhomes, 300,000 square feet of office space, and a 175 key hotel, and 31,500 square feet of retail restaurant space. This is for information only to be passed along to the Planning Commission. That ends the regular agenda in that section. We'll go into unfinished business now. 21 Berry Avenue is up. This is a staff update on repairs to dilapidated structure.
Yes, good evening,
Murray,
Mr. Mayor
how are
and
you?
council. Doing very well. This property was before you in September. They were granted a 180-day extension, but several members of council asked for a 90-day update, which we're providing tonight. That property has had significant improvements. These pictures were taken about a week ago. The back of the house, there's a new roof. The back of the house has been framed and enclosed. That's where most of the damage was, with the fire damage. The lot's been cleaned up and looks much more presentable from the exterior. There is a good bit of work left in the interior, but there has been quite a bit of improvement made, and the owner is asking for it to be able to continue with the remaining 90 days of his extension to continue the repairs.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Motion is second. We approve the request to continue repairs at 21 Berry Avenue. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Good work. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. The next item under visitors is a request for street closures for the Rock and Roll Festival, October the 15th, 2023. Mr. Doan is here today. You also have a letter in your agenda.
Members of council, I pay attention to the request. I mean, this is the third year, but this particular request has been changed a little bit from the previous 2 years. I'll let Mr. Doan actually briefly explain that. I think it's important for council to understand the request, which, by the way, staff does support. We've been already working with Mr. Doan and some others on the request.
My name is Chris Doan. I live at 225 Sedera Drive in Noonan. So You guys may recall the last 2 years, we've had the Tour of Coweta and Rock and Road Festival, the Tour of Coweta to benefit the Noonan Rotary Club. And we are happy to bring that downtown this year, which was an original plan 3 years ago, and a little storm messed that up. So, we've had some interest through the Coweta Foundation, as well as the some other individuals by Coweta, to not only have the Tour of Coweta take off from the Noonan Train Depot downtown, like it took off from Welcome in past years, but to add a couple of other events to that event weekend on Saturday, April 15th, which was included in the outline that I provided you, or provided you guys. So it's scalable. The Tour of Coweta and the Rock and Road Festival are has a minimal amount of impact on that day, whereas the other events have a greater amount of impact, and they may or may not happen. So, but we want to seek your blessing to pursue those events, as well as the Tour of Coweta downtown. So,
Any questions of Mr. Donnelly? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. Motion and a second to approve the request as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Thank you very
Council.
much. We appreciate your attendance here this evening.
yes, sir.
That ends our regular session this evening. We do have a need for executive session for legal. I'll ask Mayor Pro Tem DeBose to read that motion.
I move that we now enter into closed session as allowed by OCGA 5014-4 and pursuant to advice by the city attorney for the purpose of discussing legal matters, and that we, in open session, adopt a resolution authorizing and directing the mayor or presiding officer to execute the affidavit in compliance with the OCGA 5014-4, and that this body ratify the action of the council taken in closed session and confirm that the subject matters of the closed session were within exceptions permitted by the open meeting law.
Second.
Motion and a second. We go into an executive session for legal purposes. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Thank you. We're adjourned into legal